It's interesting this doesn't have degaussing. I might add degaussing out of an old or a black plastic crap TV when I put this back together. I'll show you how to do that. It's real easy. All you need is any black plastic crap TV and the thermistor and the degaussing coil, and you can make a manual degausser. This is adding degaussing to a vintage color set. Part 2, I guess. This is going to just be kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of different videos that kind of show how to add partially manually degaussing to an old Browndy. I grabbed this off the street yesterday, and I'm noticing more and more that these sets don't work, and this one's flashing out a code, or it was. It's flashing out 3. But anyway, I'm noticing more and more that the leftover CRT sets you see on the street now were holdouts through the DTV thing, and these have actually got problems. They're not just discarded because you wanted to upgrade. So I'm going to pop the back off of this, and we will take a look at the degaussing components. Let's do that one more time again, just for good measure, just to get that nice sound. It's always interesting to pop these open. Look at this. Look at this elaborate speaker thing that's in here. It's got one screw right there. The driver's up in there. It's always interesting to pop these things open and see what we got. Alright, I grabbed these speakers. These are kind of cool. And this looks like a really low hour set. You can see there's no dirt here at all. There's no... Just pull this off. There's no dirt on the yoke. Even around the flyback is really clean. So I don't know why this didn't work. You know, the sad reality about this stuff now is just nobody wants this low resolution stuff. You look at the picture, Singapore. You look at the picture on something like this and compare it to even the lowest level flat screen now. I mean, the resolution's just unacceptable. And you know, even if I attempt to produce a video that is in the same resolution as this TV would display, which at a max would be 640 by 480, probably somewhere in there. You know, I get all kinds of comments and private messages about how horrible the resolution is, and how I need to step it up, and you know, so people just don't want this low resolution stuff anymore. I mean, that's just the truth of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the degaussing coil here, which is this thing. Okay, which I got to figure out what holds this in here. In the previous video on the GE Roundy, I talked about the importance of this grounding strap here. And I'm going to pull this one off of here and just hang on to it. Get that spring. Circuit board, here's a spring. Circuit board's not really cooperating with me and coming out. Cheap ash. So again, we want our degaussing thermistor off of here, and the degaussing thermistor is, let's see, here's the degaussing coil. The degaussing thermistor is let's see it. It's right there, that little square box, and it's usually next to the relay, and it's got 2 pins on it. You just put it in series with the coil. Might as well do a little EOL here. And there you go. It's a Sony. Wow. You know, this is pretty entertaining. Look at all of the little coils and stuff on this. What an elaborate yoke. And it's even got a little degaussing type coil around it too. These are the items we are going to need to add degaussing to our CTC 15, 12, 11, 9, 7, whatever. We're going to need the degaussing coil, which is this right here. We're going to need the power cord from the set. And we're going to need the degaussing thermistor, which is this guy right here. This little, we'll just do this. This is the degaussing thermistor. So we're going to need that. Going to need the power cord. Could probably keep the fuse too. That wouldn't be a bad idea. And the rest of this will just go in. What do we have here? 250 at 470. The rest of this will just go in the parts bin, as well as the ground strap and spring. Okay, so basically what I want to add degaussing to that set, it's not critical, but what I want is I want the degaussing coil complete, and I want that right there. That is the thermistor. And what that does is when the degaussing turns on, the resistance of that is low. So the degaussing coil gets a peak, a burst of AC. And then what happens is this quickly heats up, and as it heats up, the resistance increases and it slowly tapers the degaussing off. The degaussing cannot be an instant on and off. It has to be turned on and then slowly reduced. The voltage, the current has to slowly be tapered off in order for it to work, because if it doesn't, it can just leave a magnetic field one way or the other. So for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the degaussing coil, I'm so sick of this damn thing. In the previous video on the GE, I had started by pulling the degaussing coil out of this set and installing it. And I'm just showing basically multiple curbside sets just to show where you can get the parts, and that you can essentially get the parts to add degaussing for practically nothing. And this is quite the same thing. In fact, I would venture to say there's nothing even on this board worth keeping. Set needs to just go in the trash. So again, we want to get our degaussing thermistor, which is right here. So we will be removing that. This will be going in the trash. Alright, so see here, basically what I've done, and this is not real critical, I've just shoved this degaussing coil up under here. Yeah, it's a little bit too big. But it shouldn't be a problem. So you can see I've just shoved that up under there. I got the leads coming out about right here. That'll give me enough room. It actually comes all the way out the TV. Okay, so what I've done is I've added a degaussing coil out of a 90s black plastic crap TV back behind the shield here. And it wouldn't be a bad idea to zip tie it up to this, because on the later models there are actually just coils wrapped around here for the degaussing. So this works just as good. And I got the lead coming out here. Okay, the degaussing coil is basically strapped on around the perimeter of the picture tube. And the way you're going to hook this up is quite simple. You can actually modify it, add a fuse, add a switch, however you want. You can do a lot better, nicer job than I have. This is just a rough demonstration. What you have is the thermistor is in series with one of the lines going to the degaussing coil from the plug. Now this is a separate plug from the sets plug. So basically what's going to happen, and I would suggest that you make this on a nice board and mount it up nice and safe and all that. Basically what's going to happen is you're going to have two power cords coming out of the back of the set. You're going to have the power cord that comes with the set, and then you're going to have the degaussing power cord, and you're just going to plug the degaussing power cord in when you need to demagnetize the CRT, which is not very often. I've heard that a lightning storm can cause it. I've heard that moving the set around can cause it, or maybe just a vacuum clean or something like that. But usually once you demagnetize them, they're pretty stable. So this is how to add a practically inexpensive to free degaussing circuit to a vintage TV that doesn't have it from the factory. Here, right there, my set is plugged in, and that cord right there is for the degaussing coil. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to temporarily plug that thing in for maybe 5 seconds or something until the thermistor heats up and tapers the voltage, the current to the coil off. Here we go. And it's just that quick. Now I have to wait for the thermistor to completely cool off. See, if I plug it back in, it won't do it. I have to wait for the thermistor to completely cool off before I can degauss it again, but that should be good. Yeah, I know the vertical's jacked up. This CRT and this TV is really tired, so this probably doesn't have a very bright future. Alright, what I'm going to do just for fun, which will probably screw it up, is I'm going to energize it again. And then just for the fun of it, I'm going to take my screwdriver and I'm just going to short across the thermistor. It'll be interesting to see how it looks. Now see how that changed the color because it didn't taper off slowly. It was just a whack. Okay, this is the reason why you have to have the thermistor, because if you suddenly cut the current flow to the coil, it leaves it magnetized. So now what I have to do is I have to wait for the thermistor to cool off and then hit it again, and it should straighten it out. So I'm going to shut it off. I'm going to unplug it, shut it off, and we'll come back to it. Alright, it's been cooling off for about 10 minutes. I'm going to plug my degaussing thing in with the thermistor and we'll see if it straightens it out. Look at that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, for the fun of it, I got a speaker here. Let's destroy it again. There we go. How's that? Come up here. We'll put another one over there. Pretty cool. Let's do one right here. Okay, I have to let the thermistor cool off again. It's going to be probably about 5 minutes or so. I'll be back. It's been a few minutes. Let's see if the thermistor's cooled off enough to wipe this out. Almost. Have to give it a little bit longer. Hit it again. Alright, let's see if we can get rid of this with one more pop, or if I need to take more drastic action. No, it's not liking it, is it? Alright, you asked for it. Maybe a speaker magnet isn't quite considered normal activity. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the variac. Okay, what I've done is I bypassed the thermistor and I've got it plugged into the variac, so here we go. Now the key is to taper it off slowly. Crap, it's still there. Maybe a speaker magnet's not a good idea. Guess I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. Alright, before I do that, here's another fun demonstration. I'm going to crank the variac up. And now I'm just going to unplug the coil. I'm going to plug it in. You can see how every time I do that, it shifts the colors around. Now I'll plug it in, and I'll slowly bring the variac down. You'll see no colors. That's the importance of tapering the current off. Alright, I'm going to try and do this the old school way with just a suicide cord hooked up to one of those degaussing coils out of that thing. Out of one of those TVs to the variac. So let's see, I screwed this up with that speaker magnet. You know, don't do this at home, okay? I'm turning the variac down slowly. This thing's getting hot. It's driving a lot of current through it. There we go. Look at that. So I guess the homemade one works about 99%. Just don't take a speaker magnet to the face.